I started print on demand about 2 years ago and it has seriously changed my life, but I would not recommend it for everybody. Through my journey of starting to where I am now, there have been some major highs and some major lows, and some of those lows have been very, very difficult for me to deal with and sometimes carry on with. So I wanted to let you guys know what some of those negatives to print on demand are before you start, so you can figure out if this is actually a road that you want to pursue. So with that, let's get started on some of those hard truths. And the hard truth number one is that it is not a get rich quick scheme. It is going to require a lot of learning and a lot of effort for you to even get that first sale. It's going to be even exponentially longer and harder until this is replacing your full-time income. It took me 5 weeks for my first sale, and it took at least 6 or 7 months before I hit my first $1,000 profit month. And while for some of you 6 months isn't that long, for others of you, you have to think that is 6 months of hard work, putting in hours every single day with only a bit of payoff. It is hard for people to put in 5 weeks of dedicated work into something where they're not seeing the payoff right away. You actually never know when that first break is going to be, and it can be hard to be consistent and stay working and improving without getting that feedback of sales yet. If you are attempting this, but you have an issue with delayed gratification, and the only way you're gonna be able to move forward is if you start seeing results right away, then this is going to be very hard for you to keep going to be successful in the long run. If you are selling print on demand on Etsy or selling on your own website and you are using a supplier to fulfill, there is going to be a gap between when you actually have to pay for your products and when you are going to get paid by your platform like Etsy. For me, I already had a good credit card with a good credit limit and I love collecting points, but for others, I've seen how this can be a very big challenge for them. People have been worried about this gap. Maybe they don't have a credit card and need to do debit card, but then they have a limit of the amount of things they can print a day before they are actually getting paid out from their supplier. But the positives to this is, again, those credit card points are amazing. I would rather everything be charged by credit card, get those points, and then get paid back again later. And then you have to think about this compared to any other business. If you are doing any other type of e-commerce, except for maybe drop shipping, you have to order all your products in bulk first, which is going to be a way bigger difference between the days in which you pay and get paid. Another thing that I had to deal with that really, really sucked, and I've had a lot of my students, when this happens to them the first time, they are very upset. And unfortunately, that is people copying your designs. People, unfortunately, copy businesses everywhere. They copy on Etsy, they copy on websites, they will steal your TikTok content, they will copy your YouTube thumbnails. People copy. And no, it is not fair. And yes, it absolutely sucks, especially when it was one of your best sellers and they started selling it and now they sell it more than you, which has happened to me. And you get angry. I have sent many angry reports, many angry messages. I've reported many people, but you will not catch all of them. I do just report people when I find that they have totally copied my design pixel for pixel, but unfortunately, you are not going to catch everyone because you actually have to spend time searching up your keywords to even find if someone has copied you, which if you have tons of designs like me, is going to become very overwhelming and it's just going to take up more time than it's worth. So get ready for it because it will happen. It will suck. It's going to make you angry and it's going to make you want to stop when you see that people are just constantly copying you. But the upper hand is you created that original design. You have something these people do not, which is creativity. And you will always be one step ahead in being able to come up with new creative ideas than the people that can only succeed through copying. This is why I do not share my Etsy store name on my platform in which I teach. For the few people who have found my store and they have messaged me with my store name, I've gone into their store and they have copied all of my designs, all of my niches. It's just the world of print on demand and business in general. People copy what's working. And again, this is not special to print on demand. It happens everywhere. This is why drop shippers don't share the product that they sell because everyone else will try to sell it. I've had people copy my TikToks word for word. I've had people save my videos and pretend to be me to try to make sales on products. The fourth hard truth is that there are going to be quality issues. Some people get really upset when they get their first complaint on Etsy. Unfortunately, all these printers are printing thousands and thousands of t-shirts and products a day. Sometimes they send the wrong product. Sometimes the print is scratched, and it is something that we are going to have to deal with. There is customer service involved. And when people are getting angry in your messages, sometimes it's easy to want to quit, but sometimes just take a break, go back to responding. No, it has nothing to do with you. They don't know what you look like. And Printify or whatever supplier you use is often very, very good at offering refunds or reprints as long as you get a photo from your customer showing these quality issues. Especially during Christmas. There was one one year where it felt like at least one of every 10 orders, the person was getting the wrong product. I had one that arrived and it was a big F you on the front of the shirt, and the person messaged me asking pretty much, what the F is this? But again, usually the printers are on your side. They're happy to offer those refunds and reprints if it was an issue on their end, and they are very good with that. I don't think I've ever really had a quality issue where they've refused to refund it, unless it was the customer being something nitpicky about, I didn't like the hue of the t-shirt or it was different than expected. Those are more subjective and those are a little bit harder to get replaced. Another hard truth, especially if you are selling with Etsy, is you do need to be consistent. You want to constantly be adding new products, constantly testing new things. One, the reason is because if you have customers who are loyal to you, they've already looked through your products, but if you add new products, that might bring a repeat purchase. But the second reason is Etsy rewards consistency. If you just put all your products up in a week and then never touch your store again, they're not going to see that you're being active and they're not going to actively try to send you traffic to your store either. I have this digital download shop that last year I was super into designing for. I put up about 150 listings and they were selling and doing well, but then I just got bored of creating all of these and I started wanting to put them on my print on demand products instead, and I just had fun designing for my print on demand store because that main store is my baby. So it kind of fizzled out. But recently, for one of my videos, I talked about an AI digital download, and for that I started learning how to create some AI digital downloads, and for that learning I started posting them back in that old shop again. And not only did those new products start selling, but my old ones started selling again because I was more active. People were finding me more and more, and Etsy was happy that I am constantly bringing new traffic and new people to my storefront, so they were rewarding me, and all of these old products who hadn't sold in quite a few months started selling daily again. And this one is going to hurt a lot and probably my biggest warning to people when you were starting print on demand, and that is that all months are not created equal. Back when I first started my shop in the first year, I was so lucky to have seen some results, but my store really didn't kick off until Q4. October, November, December were crazy months, each within my first year giving me over 10K profit. But once Q1 rolled around again in the next year, that plummeted. That went down to about 6-7K for the next few months, which was still good for me. But then in June the next year, I hit a 3K profit month. And considering I had just quit my job a few months ago, seeing this major fluctuation made me think this is the end, my store is dead. But the Q4 coming up again blew the last Q4 out of the water, hitting a 20K profit month. This can also be highly dependent on what product you're selling, but you need to know that when you are starting, that shopping habits extremely fluctuate throughout the year. You're going to have some insane months, but it might not mean that the next month is insane as well. I heard a lot of my students complaining that May was pretty slow for them, and historically May and June are my slowest months by far. But now, because I know that, it helps me prep, and on those months where I am killing it, I am saving to make up for those months where it is a little bit lackluster in sales. And then going into my last point. Again, I had mentioned that it took me 5 weeks to get my first sale. That was at over 75 different designs listed. I have over 1,100 listings right now, and I am constantly growing. I would love to get to 2,000 soon, but majority of those don't sell. Maybe 20% of them sell. Sometimes you're gonna create a design and you're like, this is it. This is the best design that I've created, and it will never be picked up. No one will ever find it. But that other one that you put up 5 weeks ago that you didn't think would do that well suddenly becomes your bestseller. So while yes, you want to be putting up quality designs, I am not saying half-ass your designs and throw up a bunch of things on Etsy. That's also not going to be great for you. So put in the research, but find a way to get out the quantity while not sacrificing on quality as well. You can watch my video on how to get up a bunch of designs quickly in terms of both designing and listing. I have 2 different videos on those, so those can help out if you are trying to get out this quantity, again, without sacrificing that quality. With all that said, I love print on demand. Again, it has changed my life, and I am constantly adding to my store because I just love working with my designs and Etsy so much. But to quote Mark Manson, you need to pick your flavor of shit sandwich. And what that means is no matter what you do, there are going to be downsides. Drop shipping has downsides. Posting content online has some major downsides, like you mean people commenting on my videos. But every single business you are going to do is not going to be perfect. If there was any side hustle that was perfect and paid out, it would be so oversaturated because every single person would do it. What helps you be successful in a side hustle is you being able to move past those downsides better than the other people. My print on demand store has allowed me to quit my job, buy a place, travel the world, and it can be that for you. But again, you have to move through these and pick your flavor of shit sandwich.